Hello, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. We are talking about healing from love addiction today. Or things that I've learned post healing from love addiction. Let me go ahead and go live over here. Yay. Hi. We are now live, everyone. Welcome. We are live everywhere. Welcome. I am talking with us today about three ways that my life changed after healing from love addiction. Um, so let me go ahead and post this here. If you're watching this replay, please go ahead and put replay in the chat so that I know that you are here and let me know how this resonated for you. Okay, love addiction is when you have a persistent obsession of a person, a relationship, or the fantasy of who you want that personal relationship to be, and mistaking that obsession for love. When you are addicted to love or the idea of love, you will put yourself in harm's way just in hopes of having that type of romantic connection, of being chosen, of being picked, because what it equates for you is not as simple and superficial as being in a relationship. It is a sign of feeling safe. Love addiction at its core is you're looking for something or someone outside of you to help you feel more protected, to help you feel enough, to help you feel as if you belong. And many people use different things to try to get that type of connection, that type of security, that type of self assurance. There will do multiple different things. And in the case of love addiction, you will try to get that in by way of the relationships that you're in and put yourself in harm's way. And so I had to do the process of healing from love addiction to actually get to a place where all of the self esteem and self concept work and things that I thought I had that I actually didn't have. I was actually using a lot of masks. I was really overcompensating in a lot of ways. I was really living in my perfectionism. And I was doing a lot of different things that were kind of masking and distracting from the fact that I didn't really feel secure in myself, which showed up in my relationships. It showed up in me being attracted to people who did not value me. It showed up in me being in relationships that I should have left a long, long time ago. It showed up in me sacrificing what I wanted and becoming needless and wantless. It showed up in me just kind of feeling embarrassed in a lot of ways and feeling as if um, I'm too smart or I'm too good, and not too good in like an ego way, but like someone someone who has these things going on shouldn't be feeling this way and doing these things, but there I was. And so I had to go on a healing process to get there. So I'm trained as a therapist. For those of you who don't know, I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and I was a licensed therapist for over 12 years. And there may be an update about that coming soon. Uh, as a little sneak preview, but I was a therapist for many years and I was helping people heal. And I was on the path where I thought relationships were just something that you would figure out. You know, you use skills, you use resources to bring it all together. But my attempts to reel things in with my relationships were getting worse and worse and worse until my therapist at the time suggested that I go to do Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And at first I pushed against it because I was like, that does not sound like that's something that I need to do. But then I started to date worse and worse people. I started to feel a little bit more crazy around those people. And it got harder and harder for me to put my boundaries up. So then I ended up joining the 12 step group, 12 step fellowship, which was great. I met some of the most amazing people. I learned about love addiction and love avoidance and love anorexia, which here I call love deprivation. And it really put a lot of things into play, and it really helped me get kind of grounded and footed, and me doing things differently. But as far as me fully changing my life, honestly, for me, that didn't happen. What it gave me was a safe space to come and share what was going on. The 12 step process allowed me to understand what it was like to admit that this was something that I was powerless against, and it gave me a path to bring all the chaos in my life and bring it into order. But it did not help me figure out how to connect the trauma that I was going through and that led me to being a love addict and providing a way out. It also did not teach me what to do instead. So, for example, one of the things that I have pulled from the 12 step program that I teach here, but I have a lot of modifications around, is the no contact process. If you join 12 steps for sex and love addiction or for love addiction, they are going to tell you, if you get a sponsor and everything, to go for a year without doing any dating and romantic relationships if you are single, in order to help you kind of um, have a healing process and neutralize yourself from all the ways that you're using love, relationships, sex, whatever, to self medicate and to self soothe. And you know what I've learned from watching folks in that program do that, and when I did that myself, is what that it does help things come to light that you were not aware of before, but it also teaches you how to restrict. It teaches you and reinforces those of us who are used to punishing ourselves when we are imperfect. It really leans into that, because the thing about the no contact process is, in 12 steps, is if you slip up, if you contact the person that you were in a relationship with before, if you have sex outside of the bounds that you want to have sex, if you mess up, basically you have to start over. And so it really feeds into this perfectionistic process that you cannot slip up, that you have to be on one the whole time. And then what happens is, because you have this year of bliss where you are not around all these triggers and everything, once you go out into the real world, where you're back to connecting with people again, um, and if you haven't had the skills to learn how to have healthy relationships with men and women in between, then you're all of the kind of enlightenment that you've had is a lot easier for you to go back to those patterns. And it may be gradually, but it'll happen. You're going to slip up. And so, what I would find that a lot of people would do is be like, okay, well, I'm going to go into no contact again. And so, you have people who go month after month, year after year, punishing themselves by going into the no contact process because they wanted to be like this image of perfection. And all that does is just make you feel as if there's something wrong with you. And so, um, 12 step programs, I needed something more. My therapist was amazing. But when it came to working through the underlying issues of what brought me into this love addiction and the impact of childhood emotional neglect and what was happening in me with dating relationships and like modern rules and all that other stuff, and also how to communicate and communicate my needs and all that stuff, there wasn't a lot of integration there. So I created Black Girls Heal to be that place where I can bring together what I know works therapeutically to heal from these wounds and to actually work through these things, but also what do you replace it with? Because those of us who've had love addictive patterns where we have pulled in people, where we have become codependent, where we have lost our sense of self, we're not just doing it for shits and giggles. We're not just doing it because we think it's fun and we like to repeat the same problems over and over. We're doing it because we're hoping that we're going to get a different result. We're doing it because we think that if we are honest and if we are true and if we're forthright and if we are attentive and if we're loving and if we're generous and if we're all the things that we really want to be, that is going to eventually work out for us. And we're doing the best that we know how with the information and the experience that we've been given. And so there's a lot of good-hearted people, a lot of good-hearted women who are giving their all in relationships, but they're giving their all in relationships with people who don't deserve them, with people who are walking red flags, with people who are walking red flags, but they look like potential, or they're trauma bonded to people and they don't know how to get out. And it's really causing a lot more heartbreak and trauma that makes it even harder to have that trust and that love when it is open and when it is available for you, right? And when you are around people who can be that safe space for you. So I created Black Girls Heal and the Recovery School program, which is where I help women work through these issues, to heal from love addiction and to be more love balanced instead of love addicted, to be more love available instead of love avoidant, and to be more love nourished versus being love deprived. Okay. So, what I'm going to share with y'all now are the 3 ways that my life changed when I shifted from being love addicted to being more love balanced. Okay. So, the first thing that changed for me is I did not experience with the withdrawal symptoms anymore when it came to breaking up. So, what is withdrawal? Withdrawal. So when you hear about any other type of addiction, like drug addiction, alcohol addiction, anything that like biologically gets into your body, we all know that there is a withdrawal process, right? So, um, trembles, sweating, vomiting, all of these things because your body has physically been impacted. Your nervous system, your brain, your gastrointestinal system has all been infected by this substance. It's all created a dependence on this substance to get you going, right? So there's a withdrawal process. There is also a withdrawal process when it comes to love addiction as well. Why? Because what you have been using, the love, the relationships, the sex, the fantasy, you have been using those things to heal, to hit on, to attend to self-soothe, to self-medicate deep internal um, traumatic wounds from early abandonment, from early rejection that is deeply painful. Your trauma stays in your body. There's a really famous book that most people know, even if they never read it before, but it's called The Body Keeps the Score. And it talks about how you can go through something that's really traumatic and your body will remember what it felt like and the fear that it felt like, and it will keep it in your body. Which is why sometimes you can walk into spaces, walk into rooms, walk into relationships with people, and suddenly feel uncomfortable. Suddenly feel like you need to run and move away. Suddenly your stomach hurts. Suddenly you don't really want to talk anymore. Suddenly you feel really intimidated, and it's overwhelming, right? Because your body remembers. And so when I'm in a romantic relationship with someone that I have equated to, this is it. Once I'm with them and once this works out, I'm going to be able to relax. I'm going to be able to feel safe. I'm going to be able to feel happy. When that's ripped away from me, and ripped is the real word, when that is taken away from me, I'm not only feeling the pain of that relationship, I'm feeling the pain of every other time that I was abandoned, rejected, not loved, not taken care of before. And it is crippling. It is deeply crippling. So the panic attacks, the headaches, the fatigue, the inability to get up, the depression, the anxiety, the inability to eat, all those are real things that happen when you are a love addict and you are going through breakups. And that's part of the reason why this can also feel so confusing and infuriating and embarrassing, because breakups affect you much more than it affects your friends. Your friends can like be heartbroken, cry for some days, cry for some weeks, and keep it moving. For you, and you may not share how deep your mental chatter goes, but for you, when you are going through a breakup or when you are having to set boundaries with someone, it is so incredibly traumatic to your body, and you will do anything you can to eliminate and run away from that pain, because the withdrawal process is real and it lasts. It lasts for days, it lasts for weeks, it lasts for months, and it's excruciating. And it's also what makes us more likely to take folks back. So once I actually started to heal from love addiction, I don't experience withdrawal anymore, honestly. I have what, if I do have a breakup situation, whether or not it's with a friend or whether or not it's with someone who I am intimately connected to, whether or not that's romantic or feel familiar, whatever else, that deep crippling pain where I cannot get up and I cannot function, and I feel like my life is over, and I feel this deep abyss and loss inside of myself. That doesn't happen for me anymore. I'm able to self regulate. I'm able to be clear on what it is that I want. I'm able to still be proud of myself. I'm able to know that love is available for me. I'm actually able to engage with the love that is available for me. I am actually the person who um, am the one that's initiating not being in relationships that don't treat me in the way that I love and deserve, and I don't feel any regret or guilt about that. So that withdrawal process in itself, again, is the reason why a lot of people stay places. They stay stuck in, they feel like it's fear, or they feel like what's going on is, because this is so hard to leave, this must mean that we're meant to be. This must mean that this is a place that I'm supposed to stay. That's not what that means. It means that you have either trauma bond or a love addiction to this person, and it's really hard for you to break. Okay, so I see a lot of highs, and so let me say hello. I just wanted to finish that point. Hi, Latia. Let me know if I'm saying your name right. She says, I'm dealing with this right now. I have PCOS, so my chances of having kids is slim, so I feel so less than, which had me content in a situationship for 4 years. And if anything, if anything, this is more of a reason for us not to settle. Because depending on what you want in life, y'all, I don't really talk about this because I've been on the receiving end of fertility. Um, I was not able to get pregnant, and thank God I have my son. Most of you know I have my son now, but I was not able to get pregnant due to stress. I have a lot of symptoms that look like PCOS, but my doctors say I don't have PCOS. But we'll talk about medical tests and things a different day. But if you want to be in relationships where you're growing children and all that stuff, and if you want to do that biologically and stuff, and everyone's journey is different, but I'm just using this example because it was just presented. Um, this is even more reason to not stay in a relationship with someone who does not love you and does not adore you, and is treating you as an option. I actually just got off a call with a private client, and we were talking about this. She was saying how she has noticed in her own family life and in the life of one of her loved ones, and like listening to different podcasts and a lot more women who are telling their stories about how they um, have been having so many more medical issues, cancers, sickness, illnesses because of the stress of what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who does not care for you. They can be physically present and not care for you and not attend you. You could be there because your purpose is to make everybody's life better. So you're helping their life be better, you're helping your mom's life be better, you're helping everybody else's lives better, but you're not helping your own life, and you become collateral damage. Your life, your health, your happiness becomes collateral damage because you're hoping that if everybody else is taking care of them, finally it'll be my turn. Instead of realizing that you're the one who's in charge of it being your turn. No one is going to take care of you like you. And if you don't take care of you, you're showing other people that they don't need to take care of you as well. And so you're going to continue to attract people who treat you as second best and as an option because that's how you're treating yourself. And so, really, what you think is being selfish or you think is being risky, to put it all up, put it all on the line and start to prioritize yourself is exactly the direction that you need to take to change your life. Okay, so my life changed. To go back to what I'm talking about for those of you who are joining me, I'm talking about 3 ways my life changed after healing from love addiction. And I was saying the first thing that one way that changed is that I no longer have withdrawal. If I need to cut things off with someone or to set boundaries or to limit interactions with someone, this whole mental gymnastics and second guessing and all that, and the heavy guilt and the heavy shame, and what am I going to do? And that was my only option, and nothing is going to get better. That doesn't happen for me anymore. Um, and it doesn't happen because I'm being love avoidant. So that's the other thing. There's a sweet spot between being love addicted, which is like I need love and I need connection and I need people to be there for me to be all right, and love avoidance, which is like fuck everybody, I don't need anyone. But over here, it's not, that can sound like confidence and it can sound like independence, but it's more self protection. Over here is I'm going to refuse to be vulnerable to anybody because nobody's going to get me. This is very much you ain't going to catch me slipping energy. This is run by fear. This is run by fear. They're both run by fear and anxiety. Addiction, fear, and anxiety of being abandoned and rejected. So I need someone here all the time to prove that I'm enough. I am so afraid of being taken advantage of, hurt, and used that no one's going to be able to get to me. And if they try to get to me, I'm going to put all these walls up. Neither one of these are healthy. Balance, a balanced person in the middle, has full confidence and connection to herself. She knows herself. She knows what makes her happy. She knows what makes her feel loved. And she sees the world as expressive and open to her, expansive and open to her. The world is her oyster. Love is available for her. She knows it. She claims it. She receives it. She yearns for it, and she asks for it, and she expects it, and she owns it, and she revels in it, and she is her highest self. That is what we're looking for. We're not looking for I don't know if love is going to happen for me, so let me distract myself with all these things to keep me busy. That's not a full and expansive life. Okay. So, Rose says, hi, by the way, hi, love. Rose says the withdrawal is the hardest part for me. Yeah, absolutely. And so, by me healing my love addiction, and these are the things that I teach you, of course, I talk about in the podcast, but we go much deeper into it, into the program. Um, this is where now I can move around without being concerned, which leads to the second thing. Actually, the second way that my life changed after healing from love addiction is I'm not saving men anymore, and I'm not fixing anybody up. So let me tell you a really good example of this. There was one time that I was talking to someone who was like a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy, and we had a lot of like things in common. Um, but he kept like flaking on me, and he kept and it's because he had like his own anxieties and things that I was aware of. I knew about, or I found out about. And so I knew that it wasn't intentional, like he wasn't trying to be mean and flaky to me, but I knew that but it was still happening, right? And so he would keep trying to, disappear and then come back and like be super apologetic and like really want to make it up to me, but then like would freak out again and not follow up. So I just stopped responding to his messages. I was like, I don't need to entertain that. So there's two things that I did, and there's two reasons why I'm sharing this with you. Because this is so different than the love addictive part of myself. A previous version of myself would never not respond to someone's messages because in my mind I would be like, well, that's me being mean. That's me being mean to not respond. They're being so nice. Let me just say hi back. Let me let me make space for this person. And this may sound really small to some of you, but I think some of you who have been here is going to get this. When you are a love addict, you will allow people to disrespect you in your face, to disrespect you in your face, openly take you for granted, take access for you for granted. But so when it comes time for you to remove your access from that person, you start to feel as if you're a bad person for standing in your own worth and power and saying, I don't think that I like how this person's treating me, and I don't think that I want to be around it. You will start to second guess that. And so, me not responding to someone who really wanted to talk to me because I was afraid of, and not worried about that fear of being mean or whatever and how I was going to be perceived, only happened because I knew who I was. Like I knew I'm not a mean person. I'm actually a really loving person. And I don't need to disrespect myself to prove something to you because I already know who I am, first of all. Second of all, I know that I am a catch, or I know that I'm worthy of being seen and loved and chosen. And so if you don't have the time or the energy or the capacity to do that, I don't need to make it easier for you because I know you're going through some things, which is something that previous love addictive version of Sheena would do before. I could know somebody's trauma, and because I knew their trauma, I would make excuses for them and make it a lot easier for them to have access to me because I have compassion, because I have empathy, because I know you're doing the best with what you have. So why am I going to be so mean to you. I know this, so I'm going to be loving, I'm going to be kind to you. I'm going to keep my eyes open because I know that you can't give me what I need, but I'm going to be friendly to you. No, 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 no. It has taken me through this work that I teach y'all. It has taken me some time to come to the place where I realize I don't owe anyone anything. And I would have my friends who were like a lot stronger remind me of that. And so like when I would like be feeling bad and feeling guilty, I would tell them, they'd be like, girl, fuck him. And then they would be like the common sense, like the relief that I needed to like lean into being okay with that. But as much as I may logically have the thought, I don't deserve this, it still didn't dissuade the guilt. So I would need someone outside of me to like help me like feel confident in that decision that I made for myself. And so, but now I realize that I do not need to be a martyr for anyone else. I don't owe someone just because they're a nice person, or just because they've been through some things, or just because they're working on themselves. I don't need to be their test subject. I don't need to be their guinea pig. And there's a difference between me hearing a friend or a coach, like you're listening to me right now, hearing a podcast or someone else give that strength to me, which is great when I have that around me. But for me to have that inside myself now, and to not need an outside reminder, and to even like tell my friends later on, because I remember I had told my friends later on when this happened, they weren't even aware that it happened in a moment, because I don't need the crutches anymore. I didn't need the crutches anymore because I had done the work. To have that resource and that strength inside of myself was huge, which also relates to and this could be just, it could be because of my work as a healer, but I think even if I wasn't a healer, if I worked in a bank somewhere, I think I still would have been susceptible to, I meet someone who's like someone with a broken wing that I just want to nurture and fix and put back together. So he tells me about his trauma with his mom, or he tells me about his social anxiety, or he tells me about his depression, or he tells me about how he's getting sober, or he tells me that he's like rebuilding his life after tragedy, whatever it may be. He tells me one of these things, and I'm like, you know what? It's almost like it's exciting almost to like want to be their friend, or to want to be there for them, or to be their listening ear. We don't have to be together, but I can be there for you. Y'all, that is not my responsibility, and it's not your responsibility. If they want someone to help them through it, they can call their insurance company, find out how much their copay is, and find a therapist. If they need someone to help be their hand holding for them, they can reach out to the people who are currently in their friend group that there's no romantic intrigue around, so there's not going to be any confusion. They can go to a family session to learn how to have better conversations with their mother. They can do something that involves them taking ownership of their own life. But again, I do not need to be collateral damage for the hopes of one day being loved, being enough, being whatever. Let me know if that's making sense. Rose says you sound like me. Yeah. And I know I sound like a lot of people. I think there are a lot of people who have given people second, third, fifth, 19th chances because their initial story into them and what they came with tapped into their empathy and tapped into that part of themselves where they're like, oh, that sucks. And you're being sympathetic, and you're being kind, and you're being more open to someone that you really don't need to, and you're forgetting yourself. You're forgetting who is going to be kind and empathic and loving to me, who's going to take care of me. And I actually had another client who said this, and that's okay because we're working on it. They said something to the effect of, because I was talking about, making sure that a relationship is beneficial to you, and they had a really hard time with that. Like, who said all relationships are not beneficial? Like that's kind of like, that's not a good thing to say, almost like that's a selfish thing to say, that all relationships need to be beneficial. Well, who wins out in this scenario that we're talking about? Who wins out when you are in relationships that are not beneficial? Do you get, I mean, just by nature of that, who wins out? They do. They do. Meanwhile, you're drained of your energy, of your resources, of your money, of your body, of your sex, of your beauty, of your health. And for what? For what reason? What do you? At what cost? Do you get more prizes at the end? Is there a certificate at the end? Is there going to be a marching band that comes and says, "Wow, you did so great. Good for you for being in these relationships with people who were never going to take care of you and were always going to take and never give and never see your value?" There's no stickers or prizes at the end of that, y'all. There's none. And again, we can hear this from people all the time and be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense and that fits. But if you don't believe that and own that on the inside of you, if that's not something that you're fully grounded in, you will feel all this indignation and all this, righteousness around it and all this belief that like, yeah, that's the truth. But when you're faced with choosing yourself and choosing to take care of somebody else, it's going to be a lot easier for you to lean towards taking care of the other person. Okay. So the third thing, and then I gotta go. This was a quick live because I wanted to go live a couple times this week. I'm talking about 3 ways my life changed after healing from love addiction. Um, and it makes so much sense. I don't even give that much compassion to myself. Yeah, because we're not taught how to. So let me know if y'all have any questions or things that y'all would like me to come and talk about more because I have to give this last point and leave. Put in the comments or in the chat as you're watching any questions or anything you have, and I will try to come back live and talk about that. But the third way my life changed after I healed from love addiction, via the things that I teach y'all here, via what I teach in my recovery school program, is the anxiety and stress about being alone has lessened. So that fear of not having a connection or a partnership, that anxiety and all that has lessened. So the reason why I'm using the word lessened is because y'all have heard me say, if you listen to the podcast, if you've been around here, I have preached from the rooftops that it is okay for you to want and desire companionship if you're someone who wants that. There are some people who do not. There are some people who are happily um, alone. There are some people who are happily in coupleships. And if that person left, they may be sad, but they would still be fine. Right. And so, but I think sometimes it can be taught that you should get to a place to where you are completely, that everybody to like have this ultimate version of enlightenment, that you need to be at a place to where companionship, take it or leave it, I don't really care if it's there at all. And I really believe that it's okay for you to want companionship. It's about what that companionship means for you. It's about the meaning that you attach to it. Does you, if you're someone who's single listening to this, or even if you're someone who's partnered, and maybe you're not happily partnered, is there a part of you that believes that for you to be unattached equates in any way to you being less than, to you being not good enough, to you being unsafe, right? Is about the meaning that you attach to companionship and partnership. Are you not incomplete without having someone to be in relationship with, romantic relationships specifically, right? Because the truth is, there are soulmates. We have soulmate relationships in multiple forms. Some of us, our soulmates are our family members. Some of us have soulmates who are our girlfriends. Some of us have soulmates that may even be pets, y'all. Love is so dynamic and so rich and transformative that we can miss it if we're looking for it in only one form. But I think, especially in the realm of love addiction, and for those of us who grew up with fairy tales and grew up with Disney and grew up with all these images and even Nickelodeon Disney Channel, if you're a millennial like me, um, the ultimate storyline is you get into a partnership and now your life is better, right? And so we have all this programming. And then when you have trauma where you're not really taught to self actualize and be connected to yourself and actually love yourself, we have a whole lot of things working against us to actually believe that it's possible for us to be full and whole and be happy, um, outside of partnership. And for our partnership, and what happens when you are love addicted is even if you have a lot of things going on, something happens to where when you get into a partnership, you slowly merge and your identity becomes that person. So you stop doing the things that you used to do before. Slowly over time, you may start to slowly stop hanging out with your friends. You may slowly start to tell your partner everything instead of using your friends for emotional support and relief. You may slowly start to stop doing your hobbies and things because now your hobby is your relationship, you know? Um, and so it's really important for you to be grounded. And so now I'm able to be fully connected to people, to partnerships, and to relationships without having that loss of myself. And that has helped relationships be better. That has helped me not put so much pressure and insecurity on this other person to make me feel better. So now they are free to just show up and take care of me and just love me and gift me and all that stuff and not feel as if they have to bear the weight of things that is not their responsibility, which actually makes them more available to be emotionally there for me when I do need to share, when I do need to get things off my chest, right? It's more equally balanced, right? Is more evenly distributed, is what I want to say about that. Okay. So again, I'm looking at the clock. I have to go. Please let me know if this resonated with you or if these are things that you have been trying to tap into yourself when it comes to healing from love addiction. Like I said, I have been a licensed therapist or was a licensed therapist for over 12 years. Again, that may be changing soon. And even with my experience with therapy and helping people and being in 12-step programs, I still needed to do this deeper work to get to the places that I'm talking about now. And so those are all the things that I teach in the Recovery School program. For those of you who have not checked it out before and who are interested, you can go to therecoveryschool.com. This is my lifetime program that I use to help women work through all of these stages. And I've had women who have made significant changes within a few months of being in this program to get all the things that I've been talking about here. So I would love to have you be the newest member. Again, you can go to therecoveryschool.com and learn more, or you can send me a DM if you have questions about the program and you would like to talk about it before you make that next step and enroll. So that is it, y'all. I'm sending y'all so much love. I'm going to go be a mom right now, and I will see y'all later. Good night. Bye. Bye, y'all. Oops.